Good morning from A Bit Twisted. So I guess some people this week are spinning a llama for their wool. So I happen to have some left over from when I first started. So I used either my combs or my cards. Cards tend to be all right. Using the combs and making top out of it is really nice, but the top falls apart really easy because llama wool is hair. It doesn't have the bite like wool does with the scales on the wool. So this is some old stuff from when I first started learning how to spin 5 years ago. So I'm just going to put it back on the card again. And give this a good card. This does have field debris still in it. And it still has guard hairs in it, but not as much. I took most of the guard hairs out of this last bit that I have. And it does a pretty decent job of cleaning it up after you card it a little bit, but most of it comes out when you're actually spinning. So, because this is very thin hair and flyaway, makes it very difficult to roll off of a card. So what I've done is I do what they do with cotton and make kind of a puni out of it, but a large one. So I put one up underneath, one up on top, and then just lightly roll. Not all of it wanted to come along with this. Pull one stick out, pull the other stick out, and there you have a puni, not unlike one for cotton. And this does take a bit of twist in order to get it to hold together, otherwise it just slips apart. So you really have to get some good twist to it. It does create kind of an over twist before you apply it, but it does work. And basically just take a little tiny bit and it'll just kind of, everything will just kind of start drafting out. Whoop. Snug that up from the last that I took this off. Oh, see, it wants to start pulling it out of my hands, and I don't want it to do that. And it will pull this stuff apart if your tension is too high, just like that. Just pulled it off. That just pulled it off my start. That didn't pull it off from the fiber. That I didn't have a good start on that. So I need a little better start. So a little bit more for my start. And then I can just kind of do a long draw back, kind of a, see, that's a little too thin. I do spin thin because my finished yarn is a little bit thicker. And I do mostly spin for the loom, so that's kind of what I'm used to. I'm not used to spinning the thicker. Been a while. And then you can just kind of do a drawback, kind of a controlled long draw. Let it spin, and then draw in. This is a long staple, so kind of got to have your hands a little bit further back. Just like that. But let it get a little bit of spin, and then you can test it for your yarn. And that's it. But you got to remember, this stuff is just light, airy, fly away. So you have to be very careful with it. It is quite warm. If you have heavy guard hairs, it's not necessarily the best up against the skin. That's why people use alpaca instead. And so this is how I learned how to spin. And I got good with it. So once I could do this, I could pretty much do anything. That's it. Talk to y'all later.